It's the Hobby Zone P51 Mustang. Now this is a 450, which is interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and break in, but then we're gonna take a look at it with the E-Sheen / Rage RC / Top RC, all of these name brands, Volantex. We're gonna put one of those birds side by side and see what that looks like. All right, let's dig in here. So the box is bigger than one of the Volantex offerings. I say Volantex, I should probably, it's about that much more, you know, just for reference. Just for reference, just because, you know, it says 450, which is intriguing to most who I've talked to thus far. Pulling it out the box, it definitely feels bigger right off the back. It's got the same style hold down for the manual as most of your E-Flight type, type stuff. So I guess Hobby Zone and E-Flight are pretty much fairly close at this point. You still see some subtle differences, like their safe mode with the Hobby Zone has the 3 position, whereas mostly everything on the other side for E-Flight is more just AS3X and on safe mode basically, and AS3X, not 2 levels of safe mode basically. So it's got your manual, fairly big I'd say. I don't think nothing else holding us down, so I can lift this straight out. Woof. So compared to the E-Sheen Warbird, wingtip to wingtip, let's see if I can get this more lined up with the end of the camera view. Let's go upside down to upside down. So if I hold those together and I flip this and rotate it down, that's your real estate of difference. From the tail, you can see you got the whole tail is sticking out past the edge, so you got about that much. All right. It's not much bigger looking at it that way, but it feels bigger in the hands if I can somehow make that make sense. Now, this top piece I'm pretty intrigued about. Let's see. Yep, it comes out. It's got like a little, there's 2 tabs in there. Get some light on the situation. There's a little tab in there that squeezes it, and you got a eyelet in there, so you feed the front in like such, and then you just kind of pop it in. Stays closed. I'm convinced that must be, that would be pretty decent. So right in here, you got all kinds of real estate compared to the other offerings. I'm loving this already. I'm probably gonna do a flight with the standard setup, and then I'm gonna go ahead and install my my receiver in here and route it, which you can't do with the other ones. Route it all the way up front to get better nose heaviness like you want. I did put one in my Rage RC S4U, and that works good. Of course, it's tail heavy, but it still flies decent, so I don't really care. This has the same plug as the other Warbirds. That's a positive, which I don't know. I would say it probably is being made by the same people, but if it is, they did have to do more molds to make it a little bigger, and just different little key things like the control horns. If you look at that, they're slightly bigger and slightly different, which obviously is a bigger bird, should have a bigger control horn. Look at that on the wing, control horn source is different. The servo looks like it's about the same size, so maybe the same size on the servo, but that's that. Got a little hatch where the rear door gear closes in. But let's flip this over, because everything else must be on back. Alright, an extra prop with a very big nose cone compared to the other offerings, I'd say, because they're just different looking. Alright, now they have their batteries with a label on it instead of just a blank battery like you get from the other folks. 400 millimeter 1S. Yeah, Hobby Zone. It's actually branded. That's cool. All the other name brands didn't go through that trouble. It's got 4 batteries in here. Like, I know a lot of people's minds are blown right now by that, because like we couldn't make it make sense to give you a ready to fly bird pretty much without the 4 AA's. So this kind of solves that for the people who will complain. For me, not so much, because I don't, oof, look at this. I don't intend to fly it like that at all. Well, actually, I'm gonna fly it like that for the video. As soon as I get to the field, I'm gonna fly it with this, and it's weird. It's got the little, the screw lockdown deal. I never understand that when there's a little tab that you can just use for that instead of having a screw in there also. But some people might like the extra security, one that's locked in well. I don't know if I've ever had it come up loose. So that's that. You got some trims on all places. You got a more refined feeling switch, to be honest with you, for this. And the push button, you know, it is what it is. But the whole thing feels way more refined than the stuff you would get from the other offerings. So yeah, put it on, it blinks. I'm going to go ahead and pop a battery in just for the sake. Let's go ahead and pop this wheel on, see what that looks like. I got it. I just wasn't logically thinking about the way the wheel would need to roll on the ground. So now that I figured that out, oh, there's an antenna. Look at that. None of the other ones have an antenna, which is only good for being broken off, most people might think. This is fairly hard to push in. Alright, that was not very easy to do barehanded, so I just took a needle nose, clamped it down, and kind of worked it forward till I got it all the way in. Now it's sitting flush. The wheel doesn't sit completely straight right off the bat, but you got, I feel like it's good enough. I am big on landing, so if most people would look at this, they'd be like, why bother? I don't know, that's what I do. I don't know. So these pop in like anybody else's does. I would say the wheels are definitely top notch compared to the others. Like there's a little tread pattern on it even, and it's super software. Not that you're gonna care with this type bird. I mean, wow, that's cool. Anyway, you got your battery door. You can see your motor. I'm not gonna pop this off because I feel like after you try to pop it off as least possible, in my opinion, because it gets weaker on the jaws of the little holding device and kind of not desirable, I'd say. But looking at the one that's on the extra spare prop, because they have an actual hub on the spare prop, and it's taped down, so I don't feel like taking it all out and stuff, but it's got a little difference than the other brands, so they might not even be interchangeable. But it does look the same diameter. Anyhow, we'll go ahead and get one of their batteries put in here. And this is a very luxurious, spacious hole in here. Not all of them have a very big opening, I would say that. So know that compared to some of the ones that have extremely tight space. The battery that it comes with, which is a 400, but this is a beefy 400. It's not like the other ones from the other companies. This is one that I'm comparing to. So you can see, this is a beefy battery. That's a 500 right here. Yeah. Yep, 500. And it's way smaller than this one. So anyway, everybody's batteries are rated different and blah blah blah. But yeah, it's like just loose in there. It's so much space. You could probably get greedy and put a bigger battery if you get you like a really miniature 800. It would fit in there, and I actually have some. That's why I'm saying that. Some really small 800s. So I'm gonna go ahead and work this in. Put it down. Turn on this. It beeped. Go forward. Go back down. All right, control surfaces are all running correctly. You want the throttle. That's doing its thing. Yep, and of course I hit the foam on that attempt to just play. I'm gonna work these down in there. And it's nighttime, so I can't fly it, but I'll AS3X is, yeah, see, AS3X and Safe are doing their thing. Yep, so I'm gonna hit it right. See if I can get this lined up for you. Right turn. And then I'm gonna see a control surface straightening out. Pretty good, convincing. Self-leveling. So if you look down in the vent in the back here, you can see a red light. That's something I never experienced with the other models. Let's take the hood off. Oh, sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I'm trying to take it off up there because the small red tail that I had, the other red tail by I can't remember what I call it, YK or XK, whatever it is. Theirs opens right here, so I was trying to pull it there. But yeah, this is I don't see the red light from the top in here. So anyway, of no importance. I love this hatch though. Can't wait to pop the receiver in there and do the thing with Spektrum. So I'm gonna fly this. I'm gonna see how that goes. But yeah, that's that. Let's take a look at it next to the red tail. So not too much difference when you look at it like that. Until you put them right on top of each other, you can't see much difference. But everything about it's bigger. I didn't pick up on this when I first glanced at it. I just status quo, right? Looking at it, it does still feel light. It does feel toy grade. But then when you compare it against these, you know, they're probably about the same weight. The gimbals look close to the same. Maybe these gimbals might even appear to be a little bit more snazzy because they're silver, but no difference in feel. They both have trim knobs, but I noticed something. This one has the acrobatic button on the right side, and this one has safe mode on the left side. I always, out of the box, started flying these right along the time when I started out everything. And it always troubled me that this was here, but on my real Spektrum radio, it was on the other side, which this button on the Spektrum radio is on the same side. That's getting in the weeds a little bit. But anyway, bottom line is safe mode is on the wrong side. So funny enough, this is my radio for my first bird of the 400 series, which was this P51. You can see I have taught so many people to fly on this thing. It's been repainted by one of my friends who I taught to fly, who wrecked it pretty bad in a tree for 2 weeks, and we dug it out. Took the puffy battery out, put a new battery in, and flew it that same day. So anyway, it has some miles on it. It has had tons and tons and tons of crashes, just teaching people how to, you know, get into it, and got a lot of people interested. Anyway, this is the controller that came with it. Notice something. It says stunt right there, but I got my switch there, so I actually switched the sides. I had to solder the wire because it was too short and blah blah blah, but in my opinion it was worthwhile. But the one from the major brand has it on the right side in the first place. And the reason why I mentioned this, the reason why I went through the trouble of a toy grade radio and changing it over, because I didn't have much at the time and it made sense to me regardless. But you want muscle memory. I don't want to be a new flyer and then trying to fill around and figure out which side this thing is on. I want this always on the left side. Even current day with my my radio, this yellow thing, that's my safe mode and AS3X, and then off. I keep it there. It's always there. So this made sense for me to do. And of course, I feel like it makes a lot of sense for them to do it on this, changing this up. Like, I really feel like this changes the whole game on these smaller warbirds. They missed out on a couple of years, probably. I bought that Mustang, this one here, sheesh, probably 2 to 3 years ago. So it's been 2 to 3 years these people have been putting these things out, and they came out with newer lines. This one is a really old one. It doesn't even have the board in it, but this Corsair, it does. So if you look at my other reviews, I did put a Spektrum receiver in this one. I ended up putting let me look up the name right fast. It escapes me, but at any rate, you can't see it because it's all the way back here in the tail, and you can only see the light up because I ended up, there's a plug here. So if you have one of these, a Top RC, a Rage RC, or even Voluntex, and you open it up, you can see inside of there the plugs. See them? And you just plug your Spektrum receiver in it. The one I have has a push button on it, so you can easily set it up. Does that help? Yep, there you go. So you just push the button, and you see how tiny that receiver is. This is definitely a small receiver. So, and that's the push button right there. I don't know if you can see it on the left side, the little yellow looking thing. So then you get into bind mode and you can do it. I did order another one for this bird because it does have the output for it. However, it didn't come in yet. It comes in Tuesday, and I'm about to take a trip out of town for a week, so I won't be able to retrieve that until I get back. All right, I've armed the bird. We're on the runway. This is the maiden flight. I don't know what it's going to do, how it goes as far as the taxiing, and yeah, it was pretty predictable with some right rudder. And that's the safe mode, and it's doing like safe mode does. It feels like it's a little bit tail heavy, perhaps. Yeah. But I'm going into the wind, so that could be unpredictable to look at as far as tail heaviness goes. But yeah, it feels a little bit tail heavy. I'm gonna try to stay real close so we can get a video of just what this thing kind of looks like in the air. I would say the feel compared to the Eachine is probably fairly close to the same. I think Top RC, as far as like their radios, the radio for the Top RC looks to be identical. Yeah, this is constantly going up, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it some down trim so I can stop it from going up so much. All right, let's see what that does. All right, yeah, it was disgustingly going up too high, like it was tail heavy, but it's still doing it. That's a little better. Might be going down now, so one extreme to the next, but you know, it flies like the rest of the warbirds, I would say. Sometimes you get little hairy moments. The rudder is very well authorized. Oh, you gotta make sure you got some power when you turn around from the wind, because when you're going with the wind, obviously you're going real fast, and then when you turn, you gotta give it some power to keep it up, because otherwise you're gonna go dipping down way low or maybe crash or hit the ground like that. You see that? All right, so very poised. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it into the intermediate mode. And of course you get the wider angles. And I think you could do a loop with this. Let's see. No, it looked like it limited that loop pretty much. Now get out of the clouds. And full throttle. Yeah, that won't loop. So I'm gonna flip it into the expert mode, which it feels like any other aircraft. It doesn't feel twitchy. It feels kind of normal. Whoa, got a little nervous there, so I flipped it into the safe mode. Back into, one guy's taking off a jet, so we're gonna walk away from the flight line over here to get out of his way. That's Crazy Jet Steve. And I would say this is completely flyable off safe. Whoa!
Cut the power, cut the power!
What happened? He must, we tried to get out of his way and he followed us. Did you follow us? Yeah, so I'm still flying, guys, but I'm completely startled because he just like buzzed us.
It came right over our head.
It came right over our heads. So, all right, I'm gonna try and get you some acrobatic stuff. Now, I'm completely shaking here. I'm sorry, but that plane like virtually went right above our heads. So it'll loop, I think, and roll at everything you want it to do. Oh, and that was just a hard plummet to the ground for me. Like I said, I'm pretty shook right now, and I'm just trying to get this video done. Let me get the prop back on, and these are guaranteed to be tough. So that was a good, maybe not test, but anyway, everybody who's interested in them, let you know that you can be a complete beginner. And of course, I was flying completely off safe with that. So I'm not gonna go to the runway and all. Let me just take off from here. So that was a big jet just flew over our heads, and he's crashed in a tree or something back there. We gotta go help him investigate, but I just wanna get this last little part of this video done. And another thing about it, I'd say we normally don't fly these warbirds when the wind is gusting this bad, but I just wanted to get it in. I'm confident at this point. I feel comfortable flying them when it's like this. And I'm gonna have to hand it off to Mr. Larry because I think we get a lot of battery out of these, but I'm gonna let him fly it off safe and let him see that it's completely different than it used to be off safe. So you can actually do it. Like, you might be able to even hover this. It's so controllable. It's still pulling up a little bit though. So I'll go ahead and let's see if I can come in. All day the wind been shifting, so you gotta excuse us, folks. We are always trying to figure out, every flight you gotta reconfigure which way the wind might be coming from. That was a terrible approach. Let me do that again because I just kind of forced it at the end saying, all right, I'm gonna come in. See if I can get a decent landing. Most of the time people don't even try. Yeah, it's so windy, I can't get it to settle down. Yeah, I'm getting blown right off the runway. One more time. If I can get a good landing, I'll go ahead and hand it off to Mr. Larry. Yeah, I need to see. You can't just kind of set it at a certain throttle level and come on in. You got to kind of constantly keep feathering it. So yeah, then it picks up right when you think you're not about to. So yeah, it's landable. I'm gonna hand it off and let him go ahead and do a flight. And he chooses a ridiculous amount of runway to take off from, and it done it. Like 6 feet at the end of the runway. We're trying not to bother any of the big planes. And we're doing it. What do you think? Flies the same? A little bit different? Oh, I never tried the stunt button, so go ahead and do that. Something that I really don't put much stock in. So yeah, that's your one-touch acrobatics. See if you can get them a loop in. Yeah, it rolled out of the loop a little bit, but that's expected. A lot of them do that. I think my opinion about this bird is that I only bought it because it was hot and new, and I loved the 400mm warbirds when we first got started. Whoa, I missed all of that. So I just bought it because of that, and then to have one, whoa, dangerously low roll to the ground, because you do lose some altitude with these. But yeah, they all seem to do what they do. Pretty, that's nice. And of course, if you take the wheels off or just commit to like hand tossing and landing, you get a much better profile. It just looks so much better with that stuff out of the way. When it's farther away, it doesn't bother you because you don't really see it at all. But when it's close, that's when it's a problem. Kite action. I don't know if this one has that one-touch takeoff, Larry. I didn't read the manual, of course. I guess we could try it. We probably got enough battery to try it. Let's try that. There's a trick with the Ishin warbirds that we normally love. where you press the takeoff button, or you press the stunt button before you take off. Oh, popped on in. That's generally what you end up doing with these most of the time. So we're gonna try this cute feature out that works with the e-sheen, the new age e-sheens anyway, because I got the old Mustang, and I want to do a video on just it at some point. But yeah, that's how you snap on your prop. You just kind of pop it in there, center peg, and then snap it into its hub. I usually like to do a little power just to make sure it don't fly away. Yeah. So this feature is interesting because you push the acrobatic button and you start it to beeping, and then you give it power and let the bird take off. And the bird with no hands should, yeah, it doesn't work. Bird.
I think the battery went dead right when we did it.
Oh,
Beep, 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 beep.
it did. It started escalating. I got another battery charge. I'm gonna go grab that. So the e-sheen birds and all of the wall birds in the 400mm, and this is almost a direct copy of the Top Hobby remote. So I'm fairly sure that the confidence that the electronics inside are the same. There's a feature that I don't know if the Top Hobby does, but a lot of the e-sheens do. I know the Rage RC does it, where you press this button, give it throttle, throw it up, and it goes in the air and starts making a circle waiting for you to get ready as a pilot to fly it. So we're gonna test that out for y'all and see what's what. So here we go. It kind of went up.
I turned it.
He turned it. He got scared because of the tree. We've had this situation arise before where it kind of wants to go right into the tree at the field. So we're going to come in, set it down, and try again. So I got the 450 P51. Got a battery. I'll go ahead and pop the hood here. Get on the inside. I got a receiver. Like, this is the smallest one that I could find, right? And it's actually, so it's got the correct connection, and you go right in there. All right, so the pins are to the top of this connector. And I'm going to orientate this plug so that the pins are also to the top of this connector. And this is a really hard thing to film. So then once I get it centered decently, I'm going to push it down with my fingernail. Make sure it's fully seated. All right, I'm convinced. I probably should take that out and just route it where it could go right there. Let's do that so I don't have to take it out again. Once I get everything. Nope, you know what? I gotta leave it in there because I gotta bind it. So I'm gonna have to press the button, which might be an extremely hard maneuver. So, all right, you could see my plug right there is fully seated. So I'm gonna turn on my radio. I already got a picture, just a rough one. I didn't do a good one at the field, just because. So I'm gonna get this kind of situated where it's gonna be hard to film, but anyway, I'm gonna slide this in where the connector is not connected right there. I'm gonna hold down this bind button, and if you have a second person, that probably solves this whole issue, because they could easily just press the bind button for you. So I'm holding the bind button and I'm gonna wedge it. All right, so I got it plugged in, like just by wedging it in there. I'm gonna release the bind button so I can make sure that plug is all the way in. I'm gonna go to my bind button on my radio. Binding. Hit bind. Bind complete. Boom. PSMX 22 milliseconds. All right, the radio went back to the main screen. I have no control, so I'm gonna disconnect the battery, reconnect the battery, let it do its initiation. Of course, the throttle was up a little bit from me fumbling around. I think I probably got a throttle cut set. Let's see. No, I don't have the throttle cut set at all yet. So, brand new model. So let's check out and see what we got. Right turn working correctly, elevator working correctly. So looks like rudder is reversed. So I'm gonna go into my settings. Servos setup. Rudder, reverse. Alright, now rudder's going the correct way. Alright, aileron, elevator, and we already seen the throttle work, but okay. Alright, so now I can disconnect this battery and put my radio and screen off, so I just want to route this past that servo right there, so I could just sit. I don't know which side would be more appropriate. I just got some wires going on this side, so I'll probably go on this side. So let's see if that'll work. It may or may not work even, and I feel not comfortable pulling it because it's really tight. So I'm gonna just get a needle nose because that'll grip the plug by itself. Really, I could probably just use a flathead and just kind of wedge a flathead underneath the ledge and pull up, because it is hard to get out of there. Alright, got it out. So I'm gonna just route this past that servo against all odds. Let's see if I put this servo that way, I could pass through. Yep. So I just push the servo back so that the linkage, and you see that connector's kind of sliding in there. Let's get me a tool to further aid with this process. Alright, I'm gonna pull it all the way back to the servo just so I can get some room to manipulate this wire in here. Make sure my plug is oriented correctly. And much harder than before because now the wire is looped back, and probably even harder to get for you to see it, but you know what I'm up to. I'm just trying to get that plug in there. So I got it kind of lined up almost. Shouldn't even be videoing this part. Alright, I got it in. Alright, so now I'm going to take my fingernail and push it all the way down. And push that side all the way down. So it's fully seated. Now I'm going to take the rest of the wire and push them down. I can probably use a flathead for that. So I'm going to get one of my little tools and I'm going to push all the wires down to the bottom of that channel so that they don't interfere with anything. And I'm going to separate the two antennas on this receiver so that they can get the maximum amount. There we go. So see what I got? I could probably bend one of them up a bit to kind of give you that second variation of signal. Yeah, like that. So I can't put it there because that's where the canopy goes. So I'm probably just do something like this and slip it under that ledge right there. Alright, so now that's what I wanted. And everything looks good. Let's check and see if the canopy fits now. Wherever I slid it off to, get these tools out of the way. Canopy fits fine. And pop a battery in. And alright, seems like it initiated fine. Everything's still working in the correct motions. I'm going to go ahead and latch this down. Just because. Check my throttle. Alright, it works. I'm going to go ahead and set that throttle cut. Alright, so now that that's that way.
Timer start. Timer stop.
Nothing. Then I'm going to just click it on. And it works. I don't like that timer start, timer stop. I'm definitely going to turn that off. But anyway, let's see. So the gyro is... I don't know if it's on. I think it's S3X is on. Yep, so there's no gyro on. So now it's on. So it's actually in the reverse order. I like this to be off and this to be safe. So to demonstrate that again, I'm going to turn right and I'm going to turn, and the ailerons aren't budging. It'll go all the way around. So I know I'm good. So I'm going to go back to Servos setup again. Let's go ahead and flip switch B just to see. Oh, never mind. Let's get out of here. Get out of here. Go one over. Oh, I'm on gear. All right. It is gear that I assigned it to. So that's going to be number 5. Go back. Model adjust. Servo setup. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's called gear. I'm going to go ahead and reverse it. So now down should be safe mode. I'm going to go right turn. It leveled out. Release it. Levels out the bird in flight. Once again, right turn, left turn, sorry. And that's the bank angle. Release it. It's going to level the aircraft off. Then when I go to this middle setting, let's see what that does. Bank angle. Oh, it just lets you bank more, but still safe. And then this will be off that way and nothing. So I got my 3 steps. Let's see. I'm gonna go to aux 1 now, and I'm gonna assign that to this button and see if that might be that flippy mode. Oh, so I went ahead and I assigned. Switch I was already assigned to something, which was actually aux 2. So watch, I didn't even change it because I ain't worried about it really. But so you press switch I, and now it's doing aux 1, which is what I changed it to, as well as aux 2. So I don't know if I need aux 2 for anything yet. I'll find out. But anyway, so effectively, when I hit this button, you'll hear it, and I turn. See, now let go. The bird's gonna stay that way, so it'll do the roll. So now I got my rolls on a push, button, and boom, it'll stay. Let's see if the loop works. Hit the button. Yep, stays in a loop for so many seconds, and then come back down. So now I got everything I had on the standard transmitter. But I'm gonna have more. I don't want to have this aux 2 doing the same thing, so I'm gonna take that off. All right, I keep hitting that little light thing. So now I'm good there. I think I'm gonna set up some dual rate in Expo because, yeah, just because. I'm at 100%. I'm gonna go to 25% just to see how it feels, and then I'll fly it and make decisions from there. Okay. I don't know if I need dual rates though. I flew it already. It flies good, but no telling with this radio. We'll see. Elevator. Let's go to 25%. Let's just put everything on 25 just to soften the touch. I know the elevator was... I'm going to go to 30 because the elevator was a bit twitchy. But I never flown it on the Spektrum radio, which changes everything, right? So let's go to 25. Let's go 20, because there you go. All right, now set up dual rates if I need to once I fly it, but I think everything felt good on 100% with the stack radio. I don't think I'm gonna mess with that. let's see, I did assign this to the next channel that was open. I assigned it to this switch, or one of these switches anyway. So I just was seeing if it did some kind of weird dual rate thing. But let's set up a dual rate just so we can show that that's something you can do on this radio. So, all right, I'm gonna go to aileron, which is the most obvious. I'm gonna hit to this second position. Oh, I didn't set the switch. Switch. So 100% and 25. Then I'll go medium, aileron. Let's do something just so you can see there's a difference. 80, 90%. All right, and 25 is good. Okay. Then we'll go to this one. 80%. Let's go dramatic so you can see the jump. 70%. Let's make that 20, 50. All right. So to demonstrate the movements, so to show you dual rates working, it's not moving much, but you can hear the little twitch, right? So that's it. I got dual rates, I got Expo, I got everything you get on a big bird, but it's a Widow. I'm gonna try and do a flight with the Spektrum now to demonstrate that, and then I guess any other questions. I know people are gonna have questions about this because it's the last time I did a similar situation on the little red tail, which is a way bigger bird, the bigger red tail bird. A lot of people had questions about that, so I definitely can answer your questions. I've done it quite a few times now, so that's about it. Like I said, I'll include the flight and then go from there. I'm out at the field. You can probably hear the rain in the background because it is a rainy day, but not so bad where I can't get a flight in. So I'm gonna check my stuff, make sure everything's still good, straighten it out with the safe mode, go all the way to the expert mode, let me do what I want to do. Let's try the trick mode, hit the button, let go. Alright, so it seems like it's all gonna work just fine. Here we go.
Timer start.
Alright, hopefully I can get a decent amount of that with my chest rig, because I don't have anybody here with me today to get them to fly this. So with the Spektrum radio with the Expo on, it feels like a totally different machine. It feels like something bigger. You're not really it seems like when you have those
Timer stop.
toy grade radios, I gotta turn off that stupid timer stop thing. When you got the toy grade radios, it just seems like you got such a twitchy control when you're flying, whereas this is just so silky smooth now. I don't know if I can get the video from, before I put it on and kind of show you the comparison. I mean, you could look at that video and see what I'm explaining right now. Like even the rudder movements it's just silky smooth. Let me get some altitude and then try the trick button, so that's something that people are gonna ask about. All right, so, and turn. Yep, it did its roll and leveled right on out. Get facing us, give it some throttle, and it did a loop, no problem. I probably do need to, I noticed on the first flight that I was fighting a lot of elevator, so I didn't even check the trim of it. It's probably sitting way too high on elevator, but that's good. I mean, I don't know if I need to go any further. Like with the Expo I got in it, it just flies like a big airplane, like smooth, smooth turns compared to what a normal one of these. Like look at that, I'm rocking back and forth, And you could set your expo where you want it. I don't even remember what I put in here, but I know I didn't put a whole lot of it. But you could see that it's just total difference. I'm really blown away. Even and what I will say, okay, this is what I'll say about that. I have one of the Voluntecs, the newer versions that I have done the same thing as this with and put a Spektrum receiver inside. And it's a F4U. It does not fly nearly as good as this one does. So I don't know if it's just the characteristics of the P51. I don't know if it's the Spektrum, or not Spektrum, but Horizon stuff. Getting one of these things built for themselves, I guess, is what they've done. Because it's a huge market, I guess, right now. I mean, people that have never flown before are flying now because of these things. I have personally taught at least, and it's weird, I know, because I know y'all hear me talk about my amateur level all the time, but even though I'm not that knowledgeable, I have taught a bunch of people who couldn't fly at all to fly with these, and to the point where they're, buying other aircraft now and really flying. So, oh man, it's just so much better. Like, you hit that rudder and you just turn like you're in a car. Watch this. Look at that. Doesn't even lose a lot of altitude on a turn where you got to give too much up. Okay, you just hit that rudder and guide it around. Sheesh, you lost a little altitude there, so I quickly yanked out of that. But I'm just really having fun, so I could stop talking and just let it go. Or really, I need to eventually come in and land. So let's see what a landing looks like. I forgot to put the landing gear on. I was just so excited to get in the air. I did already show you it'll take off and stuff, so you don't need to see that anymore, I guess. Yeah, the elevator is super high, so it's kind of a little weird when you're landing. All right, so I'll take it. So P51, of course, when you land and you don't get a perfect one, especially in grass, you're going to pop that prop off, which is kind of what you want. And there you have it, Spektrum receiver inside glowing at you. Thanks for watching.